Apple's ecosystem is kind of insane. I can copy a photo from my iPhone, paste it onto my iPad, then drag it through my Mac Mini and drop it on my MacBook Pro, all while using my iPad's trackpad. If you're like me and have a few Apple devices, you know this stuff just works together so good. It's kind of like magic. As incredible as this ecosystem is, it's kind of a trap because it makes it really hard to leave and buy any other products. Back in 2011, Apple released iCloud, and it changed everything. You can now sync things like your photos or music and tons of stuff to iCloud instantly over Wi-Fi. Before that, if you took a photo on your iPhone but wanted it on your iPad, you'd have to first plug your phone into your computer and sync the phone. Then you'd have to come back and sync the iPad just to get that photo on your iPad. Now with iCloud, everything just uploads automatically and shows up on all your Apple devices. In 2014, Apple introduced iCloud Drive and Continuity, which took it up another level again. iCloud Drive is super useful if you're someone that uses a lot of files. iCloud Drive is basically a folder that uploads anything inside it to the cloud so it's available on all your devices. There's even a separate app on your iPhone called Files where you can access these documents. You can save a Pages document to your desktop on your Mac and then instantly access it on your iPhone. But continuity is where the real magic happens. Things like handoff, where you can start a project on one device and then instantly finish it on the other. Or something like universal keyboard, which means anything you copy on one device is always pasteable on any other Apple device. And yes, you can literally pinch a photo on your iPhone and then carry it over and drop it straight onto your iPad. There's also Continuity Camera, which turns your iPhone into a high-quality webcam for your Mac, and Sidecar, which turns your iPad into a second screen for your Mac. It's honestly amazing, but also kind of dangerous, because everything works great inside the Apple ecosystem, but as soon as you try to leave, things just start falling apart. Personally, I do use these features quite a bit, but I don't think any of them would stop me from going to something like a Google Pixel. The real problem is the accessories. Take AirPods for example. Apple puts a special chip inside the AirPods and all their Apple devices, which lets them talk to each other in a super unique way. It's what makes that instant switching between all your Apple devices possible. So now you could have your iPhone and listen to music through your AirPods, and then go to your iPad and instantly press play on a YouTube video and it will automatically switch, which is really cool. But try using AirPods with any other device that's not from Apple, like a VR headset or an Android phone, and well, it's brutal. You have to press and hold the button on the case, open Bluetooth settings on the other device, and hope it even shows up. And even when it connects, it's unreliable. You lose things like battery indicators, settings, and the connection drops way more often. Even worse, AirPods only connect to one other device at a time, so once you're done with your VR and you want to go back to your Android phone, you have to restart that whole process all over again. Apple devices work flawlessly, and anything else is just a huge pain. Same thing with the Apple Watch. It's packed full of fitness features or the ability to message people on your watch. You can even unlock your Mac using your Apple Watch. But none of this works without an iPhone. You can't even set up an Apple Watch unless you own an iPhone. Apple does this the other way too, where if you have a smartwatch that isn't from Apple, Apple will still allow you to get notifications on your smartwatch, but it's just not quite there and you can't respond to any of those notifications. So yeah, your Fitbit might buzz and give you a notification, but there's no way to respond to a text on your watch. And it's not Fitbit's fault, it's Apple's. It starts off pretty innocent. You buy an iPhone and things are great, and then you realize if you get a Mac, you can also AirDrop or even get your text messages on your Mac, which is great. Then come the AirPods, Apple Watch, and maybe even an iPad. Suddenly, your entire digital life is tied to one Apple ID, and if you try to leave, Apple makes that experience just annoying enough to pull you back in. I don't think you'll ever be able to AirDrop to an Android, and you can kind of FaceTime to an Android, but you have to go in and send a FaceTime link to the Android user, and I've heard it's a really bad experience. I think Apple actually makes the Android FaceTime experience pretty bad, so people will want to get an iPhone so they have a better FaceTime experience. And of course, the green bubble situation. Apple's made iMessage really cool with things like reactions or typing indicators, but green bubbles get nothing. And I mean, you know this, people get shamed for having green bubbles because it just messes everything up. Alright, let's be real for a second. I love Apple products, but they don't always make the best products. They are, however, really good at making the products that can trap you in the best. Take iCloud Keychain for example. It's super helpful and it remembers all your passwords for you, but it's not available on Android. So if you ever switch, then you're kind of just done for. Same goes for Apple Photos. Of course, there's Google Photos on iOS, but I don't think it'll ever work the other way around. And that's because now, if you own an iPhone and you take all these photos for years, how are you supposed to get them on your new Android phone? You have to stay with Apple. I love the Apple ecosystem. I love that I can take a phone call from my Mac or listen to music using my AirPods and then answer a phone call on my watch and it goes straight to my AirPods. That kind of integration is just unmatched. Is Apple in the wrong here? I mean, isn't their goal to make the best products and ecosystem that they can so more people buy their products? I mean, the Apple ecosystem is pretty good. I just wish things like iMessage and your AirPods worked a little bit better outside the Apple ecosystem. Because, let's be honest, green bubbles and limited compatibility is harder for everyone, not just Android users. I don't know, what do you think? Is Apple being smart with all this, or do you think they've crossed the line? Let me know in the comments down below.